I sure hope not. I'm just kind of outraged about it because, a lot of, I'm sure most of these National Guard members who are, like ordinary citizens for the most part, until their one drill a weekend, and who do get called up. They help with a lot of narcotics busts down in SoCal. They help with fires and we have fires in California, like bad. And so to be called up for a completely bogus reason, and the governor doesn't even support it, and that you're going to have to go out there and face protesters who do not want you there, and you don't want to be there. Meanwhile, your family, you've got family from wherever you're called up, and you have to take off time from your job or your school or your family to, yeah, to it's completely outrageous to me. And then with the shutdown, now you have to do all of that and not get paid for it. It's so disruptive and so disrespectful. And just I can't believe that people are still signing up for the military. Like, one of my friends is he's yeah, he's just kind of bummed because his nephew is going in, and despite, everything that's going on, I just, yeah, I'm a little confused why young people would still enlist when stuff like this is happening. Yeah, I think it's a gross misuse of the National Guard. There totally are those kind of people in the military, but also, like, coming from small town Montana, which is very white. Like, my best friend was Latino, but I think he was the only Latino kid in our tiny little class. There was only 23 of us. Um, but it was such a melting pot. Like, there are so many kids of immigrants in the military. I think, like, recruiters know, like, people who are, trying to better their circumstances, and a lot of immigrants who, yeah, like, maybe don't have the generational wealth, or the people multiple generations going to college and stuff. Like, yeah. And on the other side too, like, I remember a girl admitting on, like, day one or two, she was like, I've never talked to a white person before today. Because, she just grew up in a completely different place. And so, yeah, like, it feels like it's adding insult to injury for a lot of these soldiers who are, black and brown people. And, yeah, like, playing like support to ICE people who are just really going, and of course they're not going after the worst of the worst and the criminals and stuff. Like, you've all seen the videos, who they're going after. It's despicable, dragging people out of cars, smashing their windows. Like, there's kids around, and they're like, these people, a lot of them are citizens, and it's just like, yeah, I just wonder why more people aren't also maybe trying to get out, or say that they're a conscientious objector, or protest their deployment, because I'm not hearing any of those stories. And maybe the military is keeping them quiet because it would sound really bad. But I'm just wondering where, because, like, especially in the National Guard, you are a citizen soldier, so you are exposed to the civilian side of life a lot more than just like the full-time army people who are, at some kind of base and they do their 4 years and they're very cut off from the rest of society and the culture. But National Guard people, like they're living on the same block as all, everyone else. And then it's their drill weekend. They go drill at the base. But so it seems like, yeah, those people are just more aware than, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just wondering where the other where the moral people are. If there's a statistic, but my friend Eddie, who was in the Air Force, he um he always says like, yeah, I'm a product of the economic draft. And during Vietnam, people were drafted against their will. Their draft number came up and you were drafted. And now it's the all volunteer army, which, yes, you volunteer, but it's not like you are ever asked your opinion, like, do you want to keep volunteering for this army at certain critical points in your contract where you like are losing all these rights, and yeah, like coming to terms with some harsh realities and being like, wait a minute, what the hell did I just do? So the term economic draft is like, yeah, all these people who it's like one of their few options. It's almost like a secret draft of, are you poor enough where you will seriously consider it or enlist? Um, and yeah, like in boot camp, it really is. Yeah, it is like they say that they're gonna break you down to build you back up stronger, and stuff like that. Or but the way your coworker or your friend phrased it, like killing the civilian in you, like that's, yeah, you're so inundated with just army stuff constantly and you're sleep deprived. And it's so, yeah, like you really do feel like a different person. Yeah, I remember coming back from boot camp number 2 and going to my first class. It was like just a few days later, and I needed to ask the professor a question. I think it was like women's studies or something, like something non-intimidating. I went up to the desk, I stood at parade rest, and I called her ma'am throughout the entire conversation. And and a week later, I had like readjusted to civilian culture and life. And I was like, that was kind of weird. Like, but that felt very natural. Like I had to do that because I was talking to a civilian and I was right back from army land. So it is like that, just I know what he means, even though I was only National Guard.